Finally, it's time to focus on getting Chewie the Charade moving under his own steam again. So I've got to fit the drive shafts. I removed these wheels that I had fitted just for positioning the car in the garage during painting and reassembly. And the easiest way to put the shafts in is to disconnect the top of this hub carrier from the shock. That'll allow you just enough space to bend the CV joint at the end of the shaft into place. And on this car, you just need to remove 2 nuts and bolts on each side. You'd follow this procedure if you're removing the drive shaft to fit new rubber boots on the joints. In that case, you'd have the center hub nut to remove first. I just steer the car all the way to the right to push out the left-hand wheel as far as possible, and then stick my drive shaft in. It goes into the differential there at the back of the gearbox. Just needs a little tap because there's a little round clip on the end of the inner CV that allows it to pop into place. And there's just enough wiggle room to get it into the hub. It goes onto the splines inside the hub, and then I just have to turn the shock to match the amount I steered it already, and line it up and get my bolts in and tightened up. Then I have to fit the main hub nut. And repeat the same process on the other side. So remove that wheel. And take off 2 bolts again from the hub. So it was exactly the same procedure. Now I have the longer right hand side drive shaft to put in. Because of the distance, I'll need to go underneath and support it to make sure it goes into place safely. And you're trying to keep it clean while you're doing this as well. I've put the nut on there just so I can tap it with this nylon hammer. Don't want to damage the threads on the end of that. So it popped into place. Take the nut back off, and then I can get it back into the hub. I'd left these to last because after getting the engine running again, I knew there would have been a temptation to go out and test drive the car, even just around the yard and stuff like that, which would all be a bit of a distraction, and I wouldn't have carried out as much detailed work as quickly as I did over the last couple of episodes. So I'm glad to have left the best to last, essentially. So line that up again and slot that one in. Tighten them up, and then the last thing is the hub nut goes on just hand tight at this stage. I'll tighten it when the car is back on the ground and torque it. So these are Chewie's original wheels, and I'm going to fit some nice new winter tyres to these. This is my garage exercise machine. Doing a set of 5 tyres, and this is a bit of a workout, but it's really great to have the independence to be able to change tyres yourself. So just break the bead on both sides using the lever and this specially shaped kind of blade. And then there's another bar that is able to lever the tyre over the edge, and then its point is able to split it, kind of pull it over the rim as you rotate along the edge. A little bit of soapy water basically helps to lubricate that to get it off. So that eco-friendly cleaning product is ideal. I cut off the old valves. A couple of these were damaged and they weren't sealing that great, and I'm going to paint it anyway, so they don't get damage coming out. So I have a set of new ones to go in. So wire wheel down all the steel rims. I don't have a set of alloys for the Charade, but Chewie was never really a sporty car in my mind, and I'm quite happy for him to show his humble roots. So I'm glad to be fitting back these original rims. I dusted off all the loose rust, and then just using a little bit of an anti-rust treatment there, a rust converter, especially for those bits just in there where there's kind of two seams and moisture gathers. I let that soak and react, and then a light brushing before clearing it off, and it just leaves a film of that on them. I'm using a zinc primer from mixgarage.com, who've supported this project from the very beginning, and spray it on using my Jefferson spray gun from efox.ie. I hang them all up. They look like little flying saucers, and that allows me to get at them from all sides. They're in quite good condition, just the spare wheel looks like it's been curbed a few times, so I'll keep that in the back. And then using a Simmons wheel steel, and they look nice and shiny. This bar that I'm screwing down in the center just holds everything in place and gives you a pivot point for the bar that you use for locating the tyres. So that's my new valve going in. I don't have a tool for that, but my trusty pliers kind of slotted nice enough into the thread, so I didn't do any harm to it there. So these are a winter tyre that I could use if I was to take Chewie to Germany during the winter. It was an idea that we might do it, but international travel is not looking so easy at the minute, so we'll postpone that for now. But we might give him a little run to Europe at some stage. Meanwhile, if we get a bit of snow around home, it could be fun to go out and about in this little front wheel drive car. Again, that just lubricates the wall of the tyre, and this is the special bar that helps locate it. I've done quite a few of these now at this stage, so kind of gotten used to this particular angle you need to kind of hold that at as it goes around, and yeah, and you're putting so much force on it, you kind of support the whole apparatus. I have it well anchored, but I'd say you could rip it off the floor if you didn't do it the right way. And you got to make sure you don't fall back in a heap. Before I blast air in and pop the sidewalls onto the bead, I'm just locating the tyre to a yellow dot which matches up to where the valve goes in. The tyres are weighted to these. You notice an awful lot of tyres on cars that aren't lined up this way at all, and it saves in the balancing. And I probably will take the car to a professional place to get it professionally tracked, and I get them balanced when that's done as well, because I don't have a balancer. I've done my best to leave the original balances on these rims in place, so hopefully that will count somewhat towards keeping them in check. Feels good fitting these. Again, putting these with the gun now. I'm going to drop them on the ground. I'll torque everything. The gun is great for speeding up these jobs. And you're undoing 16 nuts and then putting them back in again. It gets a bit tedious. Easy to do, but it takes time. So it's great to have the gun to speed things up. And drive in that nut as well. Don't forget the dust cap. And my trusty axle stands. Same job on the other side. Do my back two wheels as well. Chewie's back on the ground. Now I'll be a good boy and torque everything before I even leave the garage. The wheels were the last thing kind of holding back the look of the car. Now you got the paint, the wheels, the bumpers. He's looking pretty good. This is a handy set of split pins I have from eFox Engineers, and I'll need that to hold the torqued hub nut in position. There's a little cap that can catch the pin once you orientate it the right way, with a hole that goes through the end of the CV joint on the drive shaft. So just bend the pin back each way, and that's everything secure. I just crowned that with the Daihatsu center cap, and that's the end of the project. There's plenty of little bits of fettling to do and a bit of work to get it through its first car test before I can use it on the road, but I'll do these in follow-up videos, and I'll keep you posted on Chewie's progress in the coming years. Thanks so much for watching and sticking with me through this much longer than expected project. I think I need a holiday.